Hi everyone, I hope you're well. The first thing I want to say is thank you so much to all of you who have purchased my Earthy Tones watercolor palette. It has sold out within 3 hours of launching it, so it's been fantastic. A lot of you have messaged me to say that you didn't have a chance to get it and you would love to purchase it. And so although initially I didn't think of recreating it so soon after, but because the demand is so high, I decided to go ahead with it. So I have purchased the pigment that I was out on, and I'm just waiting for it to get here. At the time of voiceover, it's half term this week, so I'm off work to be spending loads of time with my little one. And when I will be able to recreate them by the time I fill them 3 to 4 times and they dry and the packaging and all of that, my aim is some point in November. It's hard to say at the moment, but I hope in a couple of weeks, maybe half in the middle of November, to be able to get them out before the Christmas postal frenzy. So anyways, let's talk about today. So today I'm going to actually use the watercolors from my Earthy watercolor set. So those of you that will receive it can try this piece. Or those of you that just watching and haven't purchased the watercolor set and just want to concentrate on the actual illustration, then you can do that too. So what I decided to do here, I just put the camera on. I was feeling that day very much, I filmed this a couple of weeks ago, I think. So before the launch and before everything, I was just really feeling not burned out, but I was working quite hard towards the launch, and my art, I haven't created at that point much at all because I have been working on all the other things, and from that I felt quite uninspired, and I thought, what can I do to get myself back into enjoying art? I really was craving it. So I decided to go in with just, an autumnal tone-on-tone type of a face illustration. And to begin with, I just used a sort of like a flash colored pencil to give myself a very rough shape of the face. Actually, this illustration has been inspired, or shall I say re-inspired, by one of my illustrations that I have done in that soft cover caddy sketchbook art journal that I have done a flip through recently. I'll try to link it up here in the right corner. And that illustration was of a round-faced girl, which I generally don't do, but I kind of felt like it on that day, and I used a lot of bright colors there, acrylics and things. So I just thought to kind of reignite my passion for face illustrations and do a very similar thing, but different mediums, different color palette. And so that's what I've done here. Once I mapped out the face of the shape, I knew I wanted also to incorporate my stamp sets. So the FLORALS stamp sets, which is available on my Etsy, Alyona Creates, and it's a lovely set where there's loads of different flowers. You can create different floral clusters for card making or just watercolor illustrations, line work, whatever you feel like. It gives you that sort of versatility. And from that set I used the hydrangea stamp, and I really freehanded the pattern of it, just build up a crown of flowers, and that was it. And it didn't matter whether the flowers were overlapping or not, because I just went over with a layer of watercolor, as you can see here, and then just later I will go in with a pencil and just create a little more detail, kind of that's when I will be watching where the petals are overlapping. So for now, within the flower region of the illustration, I have added a little bit more of glazing and softening some of those lines. That's just to break up the flatness of it and just start building on individual flowers. Also on the face, I have mixed the color Mars Violet, which is a very intense color. I have put it in the info on my Etsy, but I don't know how many of you actually read all that stuff. But basically, my Mars Violet is super pigmented. I had to fill that little half pan 4 times. There is an insane amount of pigment that went into it, into creating this watercolor, and it is extremely just powerful in its color content. So you need very little, and it goes a very long way. So this color, out of all of the 4, I think it will last you the longest. So yeah, make sure when you use Mars Violet, particularly if you want to see the granulation, use quite a bit of more water and less of the pigment. But if you wanted to create something as dark as the lip, as you can see there, and go to sort of full opacity, and then also the duochrome, the green sheen will come through even better because it's sitting on a very dark background, if that makes sense. So it sort of comes through even stronger. So you can play around. Here I have used Mars Violet on the lip, as you can see, more intense to the left and then slightly watered out to the right. On the cheeks, again, I have used Mars Violet, but this time I mixed it with a white watercolor. And of course that creates a milky pastel color. So you can take it any way you want. It has beautiful versatility to it and a wide range of different mixes that you could just get out of it, really. And yeah, just been mixing. I'm trying to think. So in this palette I think I had all 4 colors, or possibly 3. So the burnt sienna, the rose sienna. A rose sienna is this beautiful toffee type of a color, and it has a beautiful gold sheen to it. So there is a very fine mica in there, and it's a beautiful tone of gold that I put in there to create a very warm, almost bronzy type of look. So it's great for skin tones. It's great for kind of, you can just use it as it is, or you can mix a little bit of other colors to create new tones. So it's great for that. And in fact, the entire palette, Earthy Tones, it's great for landscapes, it's great for skin tones, and anything else you want to use, but it is really useful for creating cheek and lip and skin colors and tones and complexions within that autumnal color palette, if that makes sense. But of course you can take it totally outside of the autumn and still use it as a skin tone palette. And then if you'd want a bit brighter lip or a cheek, you just would need to dip into other colors. I absolutely love the colors of this palette. This particular illustration doesn't showcase the entire range that this palette can go to, but there is a video which I will link again in the top right corner for you, where I'm showing you in detail if you haven't seen it yet, that is. And if you haven't purchased the palette yet and you're interested, then you can check out that video and you'll see all the color mixes that you can create. And probably you can create a lot more if you start involving other colors as well. And yeah, so you can check that out. So here I'm moving into a bit of a detail now, and I have pulled out the Caran Museum Aquarelle Pencils. There is a video coming. I need to film it actually. In fact, after half term is over, the 2 videos that I will be filming for sure, actually 3 videos, I know what they are. So one is going to be comparing all of my watercolor pencils. At this point, I have everything that I'm interested in that is out in the market now, and I have done a fair research into other brands of colored pencils and watercolor pencils to kind of give me a better idea of what I'd like to have. And what I did is I ordered a new full big set, which is basically my Christmas, New Year's present to myself, because it's super pricey. I'm not even going to tell my husband how much it is, because he'll think I'm mad to spend that much money on colored pencils. Only a true art devotee will understand this. But yeah, so that's coming. But I have found a new line of pencils, colored pencils, that I'm loving. So here's what I'm trying to say. There's going to be a video coming out where I am going to compare colored pencils, and a separate video where I'm going to compare my watercolor pencils, just to give you, if you're just sort of dipping your toes into that region of medium, whether that's something for you, whether or which one of those would suit you better. Now, the way I approach this is by getting a few full sets once I knew I would love the entire range, or felt very strongly about that brand. In some cases, like the Museum Aquarelles, I didn't want to go ahead and buy all of the colors, because I knew I'm not going to use all of the colors from the set. And that's the most case with pencils for me. I'd rather buy a selected range of open stock pencils and pick out the colors that I absolutely love, and that is enough for me. I find that that's a lot more cost effective in the end than buying a big major set, knowingly that I'm not going to be using most of the colors, and then buying colors that I want to use on top of that, which makes it just an incredible amount of money that you would spend, which I think is unjustifiable. But if you are purchasing a full set and you know that you love all of the colors and you're most likely to use most of the colors, then yes, I'd say that's a good investment. So what I would do, apart from buying, once I did make my mind up about those specific ranges of pencils, I would go ahead and buy a few colors that I knew the colors I would like, but I wanted just to test out the pencil itself. And generally that would give me a good idea. I'd say one pencil is not enough. You should buy like a lighter color, a brighter color, and maybe a more saturated, sort of deeper tone. I think within those 3 ranges, you would get a better idea of how a pencil is behaving, how the pigment is, whether it's dry, whether it's softer, how it lays on the paper, how it blends, what type of a finish it gives. Is it more of a matte satin or a glossy kind of waxy feel? Is it more of a wax or oil content in the pencil ingredients, and etc. So that's how I would approach it. And at this point, like I said, I have all the pencils that I'm interested in, and and I have a little bit of knowledge, I feel like, about other pencils that I have just accumulated by watching other YouTube reviews, and very quickly realized those pencils were not for me. Maybe I could touch on that as well in those videos. And of course there's coming the October favorites video, next week, and I'm super excited to film it because I haven't filmed it yet. I need to do that, and I know exactly what's going in there, and I'm super excited because I think a few of the items are completely like new to me, and even something that I haven't seen much anywhere really. So I will share those with you. So here I'm just again building up a little bit more of the detail, and I thought a nice ginger eyebrow would lift the whole thing, and I think you can see it immediately. It did. It sort of lifted the entire illustration and made it pop. And yeah, instead of a black eyeliner, I used a kind of burgundy color there, and most of it just works really well, and it's within the same color tone. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.